Good morning and welcome to another episode of River Bear. This will be the first time that I've actually shown you my own face and used my own voice on a River Bear episode. I've been using a software download that I got for free, and it didn't have a voiceover, so I started off with using the automated voice, but I'm going to try to mix that in more with my own voice and my own picture. So you'll have to excuse the ums and the ahs and the ohs. I'm not a professional videographer or televisor. I'm just a normal guy that's trying to build his own airplane. And frankly, this is the first airplane that I built. I've built a lot of model airplanes in my youth, and during the pandemic, I built some more model airplanes for fun. That's kind of gone by the side. Their 1/48 scale has kind of been replaced with 1:1 scale aircraft. So today, we need to get the Bearhawk, which is standing here behind me, landing gear on. And the reason we need to get the landing gear on this airplane today is that the barn space that we use is going to be used for a charity event here coming up. We're going to have some people come over from the U.S. Naval Academy that are spouses and supporters and civilians. And we're going to do a little bit of a aviation themed movie night here in the barn, and that should be a lot of fun. So to start off with this morning, it's just me and my assistant. You can't really see him in frame. He is wandering about here, though. You'll probably see him pop in and out of frame. Murphy, we're going to work on getting the landing gear struts on. Now, we already put the tail wheel on before, and I have some videos and pictures of that, and I will show that to you. And I did use the stainless steel Springer style mount for the Bearhawk's tail wheel. But after doing some research, I decided to change that out, and we'll go over that in another video. But we're going to put a different sort of tail wheel assembly shock mount on the back, allowing a little bit more flexibility on the tail, and also allow more rough field landings, and also smooth out the landing so we don't get any sort of ground strike bounce off the tail. So we'll talk about that a little bit. A company called T3 makes an assembly for that, and I have ordered that, and that's in the mail, so that'll come. But we'll probably add that on after the party, because right now we need to turn this Bearhawk airplane into a wheelbarrow. So as you can see behind me here, this is the Bearhawk B, and again you can see Murphy moving in and out of frame probably as he inspects the airplane for the morning. So after I've gotten the holes cleaned out, what I've been using is this Boeing Shield T9 lubricant everywhere. It's both a rust and corrosion protective and waterproof lubrication according to the bottle. It's not cheap, but it really is good. So I find that after I got the hole cleaned out, and I cleaned it out with some cleaning materials and get all that sandpaper and everything out of there. A little bit of T9 in there to protect both the metal surface as well as allow the bolts to go in and out. Really helps. The other thing I found is that I ordered the materials, I guess you'd call them materials kit. I ordered it from Wix Aircraft and Motorsports, and again, I'm not being sponsored by any of these guys. I'm paying full retail for these things. So same with the T9. I bought it off of one of the websites. So far nobody's sponsoring me. Again, I'll let you know if somebody is, but at this point, this is all my dime. And so I ordered the complete kit from Wix. Wix was recommended to me by Bearhawk, and they had a really good price. In my opinion, I compared it to the other online suppliers, and they had what they call a complete list. That complete list is actually formed by other Bearhawk builders, and it's kind of evolving over time, I think. I already found a few things that I would change. I started sending those to Bearhawk, and they said, well, wait, just wait till you compile the whole list and then send it to us once, and we'll make the updates. And we'll talk a little bit about that on the tail wheel, because sometimes I just couldn't find the part that, in the inventory. And that might be my error, it might be inventory error, it might be their error, it might be that somebody used a different part. But for the landing gear, what I found was in the kit, they sent me 4 of these nice AN 6-26 bolts. And if you're not familiar with this style of bolt, I don't know if you can see this, but on an aircraft, especially if we're going to be taking it off a lot, it has a through hole in it. So once we install this, we'll put on a special nut that goes on here, and then through that hole will go a cotter pin, and that cotter pin will keep the the nut from backing off in flight. We use those in places where we will be taking them off again in service and in flight. I'm also using, and I also got these from Wix, the AN 960-616 washers on both sides of these bolts. Now again, I haven't seen anywhere where it says you should or should not do this, but I'm just following the rule that you don't want a bolt metal to metal, especially in a vibration spot, to be making contact with the metal of the airframe. So I'm using these washers, and if I have to order some more, so what? I'm using these to kind of put another protective surface between the bolt and the nut and the cotter pin and my airframe. So I'll be using these. It basically, you know, there'll be 2 per bolt. One on this side of the bolt, this side here, and one on this side of the bolt before I put the nut on, and that should protect it. That means that I'll end up using you know, on each side of the airframe. You know, there's 2 bolts for each airframe size, and there are, you know, obviously going to be 2 washers per side. So total of you know, 4 washers or 8 total to get the job done. The other thing I'm going to do is, as I said, it has a through hole for those of you who aren't familiar with aircraft manufacturing. I wasn't either, so this is all new to me, so you can be new as well. We're not going to put the cotter pin at this point. I know sometimes when you're working on your car or something like that, you put the cotter pin in, you pull the cotter pin out, in and out. But we know that as we go through the fabrication, we're going to be doing different things at different times on the airplane. So we know that we don't want to have the cotter pin in now, because we know at a later point we're going to take these landing struts off, and when we stick it on a rotisserie for putting on the aircraft fabric, we're going to want to do that. Now, that's one of the things I haven't done yet, and I need to look at doing that, is the rotisserie. I'm kind of going back and forth a little bit, so you can make comments in below whether or not I really need to do that or I don't need to do that. The actual fabric part of the airplane, putting the fabric on the airplane, it is also going to be very new to me, and everybody says it's easier to do it if you have a rotisserie. So in all likelihood, when we get to that phase of this build, which who knows when that's going to happen, because I'm doing this between work and life and everything else we have going on here on River Oaks, I'll go ahead and I'll do that. So, you know, we'll include some pictures of what we're doing here. Here's the airplane, and we'll get going today.